All right, everybody. Well, thank you for joining me for another episode in our long-running series, the Fliplogic Real Estate Show, every Monday night at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's a 1-hour Q&A screen share format where we answer your questions and do any deal analysis to help illustrate and work on any questions or maybe a lead or a deal that you're working on, so we can help you to the utmost ability that we can. And so we run for an hour or until all questions are exhausted. So we'll get to your questions in the order that they're received. So you can put them in there in the Q&A chat box there on the control panel. So James and I were going to talk about a few things this evening that we wanted to cover, a negotiation on one deal that we're working on. And as we do that, hopefully that'll get your creative question juices flowing so you can drop some cues in the box there for us. So let's go ahead and jump in. James, how are you doing today?
Good. How's it going?
Good. So I'm going to make sure I switch my screen share over to Fliplogic here, so you guys can all see that. And let's see, I'm actually gonna see if I can drop this down here in the corner. And there we go. So the deal that we wanted to cover with everybody, and I think it actually will make for a great negotiation topic. It's a property in Newport Beach on Lido Island, and it's a pending deal. It's not. We actually just opened up escrow this morning, and the sun's setting right in my eyes. It's okay. I like it. I've got my wine here too. Okay, if anybody else is a wino or wine drinker, I hope you guys got your wine out. I know, James, you don't drink. It's definitely a noble that's a noble habit that you've taken on, and I definitely appreciate that of you. I'm not quite as strong as you, so I've got my red wine here with me this evening. So let's see. I think my screen share, it says it's connecting. Is that right? Did it drop? Let me know if you guys are having trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
It looks like I took over host.
Okay, good thing. Actually, do you have your screen share up? Why don't you lead us through?
Sure. Yeah, I can lead us through this. We'll see if we should be able to see my screen, right?
Yeah, what happened was my Wi-Fi on my Wi-Fi dropped. That's terrible. I'm back on it now. Let me see here. See, I think I'm back on.
Possibly, but I know I still have my screen share up. Do you want me to switch over to you?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, hold on here 1 second. Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure that we don't lose the replay. I want everybody to be able to reference back to it. You know what? You go ahead and take over. Lead us through.
All right. Let's throw the screen share back up. Okay. All right. So And I'll have to pull up the contracts here in a little bit. So this is the property here, and we'll go to our comparables to get an idea of where this is. As you can see, this is the subject property is the black marker, and all the greens are our comparables. And I'll open this up. So we've had this deal you can see over here in our right hand activity feed. We've been working on this one for the last 3 or 4 months. We got this lead back in November, and we've been back and forth with negotiations on it. And I'll pull it up here on Zillow, and you will see. I guess they finally took it off, but they had it previously listed. Yeah, we had gotten it before it was listed, and then you can see there it's active on market, but we have a counter and everything signed.
And that sucks. That's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
It was one of those situations where when the seller, they were thinking about selling the property. Well, they were thinking about it. They wanted to sell. They were thinking about a number. That's what they were thinking about. And so this actually was referred to us through another agent. And so the talk was in the mid 4.5s. So this is it's on Lido Island. So, this is it's an ARV of around $7.5 million. So they were talking like 4.5 around there, which is a great deal. If you've got the deal analysis up, we were thinking we could sell it around 5.375. So at 4.5, it was a home run. 4.5. Once we offered, I think did we do like a 14-day inspection, 30-day close on it? I think that's what we were at for a deal of this size. Typical comfortable timelines on deals that are like entry level to median priced homes is like 10-day inspection, 14-day close. So we doubled that, almost 14 and 30. And then it turned into, oh no, the seller wants, what was it? It was like seller wants really like 5 million or 5.1. You're like, okay, well, that works. Obviously it works for us. We're estimating an exit of 5.375 to our investor. And then it turned into 5.8 once we really wrote the offer, because we got a counter at 5.8. And we're just like, what the heck just happened? We're, in the 4s, and now we're almost up to 6, and now it doesn't even pencil. So we countered, I think we countered at like 5.1. And then it was just unrealistic from there. They wanted close to 5.8, and they weren't coming off. I think the seller, he's in real estate. He's a commercial broker. He's just much older, and there's, I think, 3 heirs now, three children. So he was obviously playing hardball on negotiation, and he probably loves to negotiate just like any experienced, real estate investor does, right? You grow to love it. And so we just stuck at 5. I think we came up to 5.175, and we just told them we're firm at that. They countered us, and we countered right back at 5.175. And then it just, the negotiations just stalled out and died from there. And then we didn't hear back from the seller for a couple, maybe it was like 2 months later, but by that time they had already put it on the MLS at 5.8, and they were marketing it at 5.8 on the open market. And then that's when we heard back from them saying, I guess 4 months later, which is today, because maybe this was a week ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago, where they said, okay, they would take the 5.175. Great. And then the other terms changed. They wanted to live in the property rent free for like 3 months, right? Or 4 months, something like that. So we told them that was, that's not going to happen. So we said, why don't we just do, or what, did they want to live there for a month? Was it a month or 3 months? 4 months. I'm
They
confusing that with a different. It was 4 months.
they wanted to
So
live there
we
for a
told
while.
them,
Yeah.
yeah. So we told them, why don't we just do a long escrow instead of like a 30-day escrow? Why don't we just make it? When can you be out of the property by? They want to be out by July 7th because they want to enjoy their property through the summer. So we said, let's make the close of escrow whatever date you want. So they wanted to do July, I think it was July 7th or
Yeah.
July 1st or something, with 10 days to be able to vacate after close of escrow. And one thing that you never want to do, or that any investor wants to do, is when they receive the property, when they close on it, they want the property vacant. They never want to run into an issue because once you close on it, you've got a per diem, you've got holding costs. And then what if they don't leave in time? Or what if they drag their feet on it? Or what if they decide, you know what, their plans fall through and now they need more time in it? Or now you've got to go through an eviction and you got to hire an eviction attorney. So there's just so many variables there. So the way to make it very simple, clean, and easy is the property needs to be vacant at close of escrow. And if it's not, you definitely want escrow to hold back a big chunk of money until it is confirmed vacant. But for the ease of everything, and since it was already a long escrow, we said July 7th, and it has to be vacant by close of escrow by 6 p.m. because that's boilerplated. That's already standard in your purchase and sale agreement that you generate in Fliplogic, is that, the property has to be vacant at close of escrow by 6 p.m. So that's what we said. So it's just a 4-month long escrow. And bottom line, we did a 10-day inspection period, and we got them at 5,175. And so we put it out at 5,375, and we've got 2 investors going to walk it tomorrow, because it's obviously a very different pool of investors who will buy a property at this price point. But we do have a few, and they'll be there with their contractors tomorrow. So I hope that's makes for a good illustration on that. And if James, if you've got the numbers up there in front of you, anything else you want to elaborate on that? But that's how the negotiation went.
Yeah.
Least,
I mean, it was
at least the acquisition negotiation. We still have to dispose of it, right? We have to disposition it. We have to sell it. We've already marketed that, and we should be able to, I would imagine, everyone's already interested at 5,375. It's like a 20% ROI over 6 months. We typically shoot for a 10% ROI on properties with $1 million ARV or less. Typically around like a $200,000 to $1 million ARV, we shoot for a 10% ROI. You get sub twos. The ROI, the investors typically want a larger ROI because they're trying to make a certain dollar figure. They're trying to net like whatever it is, 20, 30, 40,000. So on those lower properties, you've got, if you're only netting 10 on a 200,000 ARV, that's only 20,000. So as your ARV drops, your ROI needs to go up, or at least investors typically want their ROI to go up. So, but for those of you dealing with ARVs of about, 250 and to $1 million, then, 10% ROI is good. It's that investors will typically pick that up, especially on a cosmetic fix and flip. If it becomes a more heavy duty fix and flip, there's more, like if it's got foundation issues, or if you're talking about, doing an addition or anything like that, they typically want a stronger ROI, something around, 15 to 20%. So, all right. Anything else you want to add to that, James, before we go to the Q&A question board?
Not quite. I mean, just the math on this is